Divine violence is a concept developed by Walter Benjamin in his 1921 essay called Critique of Violence. In this essay, Walter Benjamin tries to relate violence to questions of law and justice. For Benjamin, violence does not necessarily mean physical violence. He's not interested in raw violence that we would find in nature. Instead, he's interested in the violence that functions within the context of society. Benjamin begins his rigorous analysis by looking at the history of philosophy of violence. Here, Benjamin distinguishes two forms of law, natural law and positive law. Natural law relates people's rights to a transcendent concept that justifies the ends of violence. For example, God's justice would encapsulate the natural law. By championing the natural law, people are describing the ultimate goal in the name of which all laws should be instituted. Positive law, on the other hand, refers to the human-made laws that specify an action. Primarily, positive law is concerned with the means of the law. It posits that violence is a product of man-made history. In short, natural law is preoccupied with the ends of law, whereas positive law is preoccupied with the means of law. The analysis of natural and positive law allows Benjamin to emphasize that there is always a relationship of justification between the means and ends of law. In a nutshell, both natural and positive laws try to ensure the justness of means and ends. For this reason, legal violence is always contradictory. If violence is means to an end, violence can never be fully suitable with respect to the goal that it serves. There's simply no way to prove whether the means are right for the end. For Benjamin, it is therefore important to analyze the means and ends separately. Benjamin distinguishes natural and legal ends of violence. Generally speaking, natural ends of violence, such as hitting someone in the head because they did not return your money, are unsanctioned. People are pushed to resolve such disputes by legal means. Why legal? Because that introduces the regime of fate. Benjamin claims that the legal order sees itself as preserving an order imposed by fate. Therefore, violence in the hands of individuals is extremely threatening to the state since it disavows the regime of fate. We usually assume that the legal system would not be able to exist unless individual violence was banned. However, according to Benjamin, this belief is a mere dogma. For Benjamin, the law does not preserve legal ends. Instead, it preserves itself. Well, where does divine violence fit in all of this? Benjamin distinguishes three forms of violence: law-making violence, law-preserving violence, and law-destroying violence. Law-making violence undertakes to transform an existing order into a new one. Examples of such violence would include wars between states, strikes, overpay, and others. Law-preserving violence occurs when violence is inflicted in order to preserve the legal ends. Such violence functions by instituting the regime of fate, which symbolizes the idea that there is no escape from law. And finally, law-destroying violence, or divine violence, undertakes to destroy the regime of fate. Such violence does not have a goal. Therefore, it functions as pure means. Divine violence destroys the regime of fate and it eliminates the dichotomy of means and ends. When exercising divine violence, people destroy the law-preserving violence.